Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is the case of the Idaho quadruple murders. This is for educational purpose only. May the 4 victims rest in peace and may the correct justice be served. I'd like to go back to the very beginning of this case. If you'll remember, after this quadruple murders was announced, Thanksgiving came along. So many of these students were actually allowed to go home. And I really believe that this case was handled in a very unprofessional manner from the beginning. Now let's picture this. You have a quadruple murder that just happened. I'm talking about 4 young students brutally lost their lives. And that means there's a killer on the loose. We would assume that the place is supposed to be not only the crime scene, since this happened in a university, the first thing you would expect is that everyone involved in this case would have been taken for questioning. Second thing you would assume that is supposed to happen is that no one should be allowed to go home. But I found it strange that the students were allowed to go home. I do understand that this is horrific for the students. I do understand that many students would love to go to a place they feel safe, like to their families, parents, to their loved ones. And obviously the last thing you would want to do is stay in a place where there's a killer loose. But yet again, we have to remember that a killer is on the loose. That means the person could have been part of the people who are allowed to go home. So I find that to be very strange. And the second thing that I find to be very strange is that obviously the Federal Bureau of Investigation comes into cases when they're asked by the police department to come into the case. Unless it is something that is crossing from state to state that the FBI get a warrant and get into the case, I would assume. But in this case, the quadruple murders happened between the 12th to the 13th. We know that the surviving roommates, for whatever reason, took 8 to 9 hours. It depends on the timeline we follow. The timeline that we were given at the start, they told us that this happened between 3 to 4. Later on, we were told when Brian Christopher Kohlberger was arrested that this happened after 4 to 4:25. No matter what, the surviving roommates, whether they were in a shock state, frozen state, or whatever, they still took 8 hours to call law enforcement, to call 911. And before they even called 911, they decided to call Hunter Johnson and Ethan, his brother. So I find that to be really strange that the FBI did not get involved in this case until the 17th of November. That's 5 days after the quadruple murders. We all know that the FBI are experts in their field with collecting data, with pinging phones, and many other things. The FBI have specialties in many departments that the normal, local police departments do not have. But yet, again, the police, Moscow police, decided to call the FBI 5 days after the murders. I wonder why. And coming back to the fact that everyone was allowed to go home, the police are trying to tell us that they were thinking of what, or the university was thinking of what is in the interest of their students. Now, what is in the interest of their students is really important, but what should be more important is the 4 unalived victims, getting justice for them, and at the same time, like I repeat again, there's a killer on the loose. So it's not in their best interest for their students to let the students go home, because the people who were involved allegedly in the unalivings could have actually gone home with the regular people who are going home for Thanksgiving. That will never make sense to me, and I believe that is where the first tragedy happened. You're supposed to lock a crime scene. You're supposed to have all the students and all the people who were around the areas not to have left Idaho, Moscow. We even had Zana, his uncle, Zana, his father, putting in flyers into the mailbox of students. And I think that is not only interesting, I think that is actually, it proves to us that the families, the parents of their victims, their children that they lost in this horrific manner, were doing things in a more correct manner than Idaho Moscow police themselves. Obviously, Zana's father and uncle knew that there are many students who knew about this, who were witness to it, who heard it, especially the neighbors, people around Linden Lane, around Taylor Avenue, and around all those areas. So they decided to put in flyers into the mailbox. I think that was really good. Why didn't the police do that? Then we had Kaylee, his mother and father, talking to Fox News and saying that a reward fund should be put up so that people come in with information. And I think that is really good. Because let's not forget, there are some people who may even start talking when they see there's a reward put up. Many people have their own problems and do not want to get involved. But once they see a prize put up there, they may actually think twice, because maybe they need the money, which is not bad at all. So there was no flyers put up by the police. There was no reward fund put up. And the students were allowed to go home early. I find that to be so unprofessional of law enforcement. And that is not a criticism. That is just the facts. The fourth one is the one I mentioned. The FBI did not enter this case until the 17th of November, mind you. This happened on the 12th, 13th. So you have the 13th, you have the 14th, you have the 15th, you have the 16th, you have the 17th. 5 days later, the FBI was called into this case. All we heard in the beginning was that this was a targeted crime. They weren't even sure who the target was. They weren't even sure if it was the students or one of the students. I mean, the victims or one of the victims who were the target. They weren't even sure if it was the victims that were the targets or if it was the house, the residence that was the target itself. Like William Thompson, the prosecutor, said. So there was a lot of mixed messages going on in the beginning. Now, when you have unclear messages going on, speculations, rumors will continue. And that can damage a case. So we can't blame social media for that. We can't blame the students in Idaho, Moscow for that. I blame the police for that. Now, we had this young man called Jack Showalter, a.k.a. Hoodie Guy. Hoodie Guy clearly was walking with Maddie and Kaylee from the grub truck, from the corner club to the grub truck. And we heard him clearly say, "You know they're going to get you for that, Maddie." And that is the time we hear Kaylee in a firm voice saying, "Maddie, what did he tell Adam?" And Maddie said, "I told Adam like everything." Now we hear a name, and that's Adam. We hear Jack Showalter, a.k.a. Hoodie Guy, saying, "You know they're going to get you for that, Maddie." Now that is a threat. That is a threat. Now somebody who passed a threat, or somebody who mentioned about a threat that somebody is going to get them, and unfortunately Maddie, Kaylee, and Xana were unalived a couple of hours later. It doesn't take a genius to understand that there was something going on there. But yet again, Jack Showalter was one of the first people to be ruled out. Now make that make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. You know they're going to get you for that, Maddie. And Maddie's gone. Kaylee's gone. The couple is gone. And they're trying to tell us that no, that was nothing. Kaylee clearly told Maddie, "Maddie, what did you tell Adam?" And she said, "I told Adam everything." But yet we have Steve G coming out, Kaylee's father, saying, "Oh no, Adam is innocent." So they debunked Adam automatically. Very quickly, actually. They debunked Hoodie Guy. The threat, don't even mention it. They're pretending like it didn't happen. And then we have, strangely enough, Hoodie Guy, who was one of the only people that we are aware of who left that night. Now, mind you, he drove from Idaho, Moscow to Boise, Idaho, to his family's cabin. There was rumors going around that he left later on with his parents who are doctors and his brothers who are doctors who have a lot of high influence up in Boise, Idaho. We heard that he left to South Africa. Now, I don't touch much on that because we don't know if that is true or not. But what I find to be important that I'm focused on is he actually left Idaho, Moscow. He should have been the first and the last person to be ruled out. Because he said they were going to get you for that, Maddie. And Maddie's gone. Kaylee's gone. The couple is gone. Make that make sense. Now they walked down to the grub truck. What did we witness in the grub truck? It depends. People look at things in different manners. Now, when I first came out with showing y'all, at least a year ago, the pictures Joe Vito was watching on his phone, the group that were yelling, "No, Xana, Xana, no." I remember I got a lot of critique for that. But now I can see that many people are showing the same pictures that I have been focused on at the grub truck and the band field. Those two clips are clips that I keep on repeating, and the 4chan. When I was doing those three, many people weren't even focused on that, and many people were giving me critiques about it. But I really didn't care, and I still don't care, because my intention is to get the correct justice for these 4 students. They could have been my children, they could have been your children. And they deserve the correct justice. Now, it couldn't have all been a coincidence when we are watching Joe Vito with the Sigma Chi fraternity boys, number 8, number 9. Number 9 clearly put something in Maddie's mouth. We saw that. Some people till today debunk it and say, no, he didn't. That he was just giving his ticket to the counter. But it happened so quickly that you have to understand that something was actually going on. Now pay attention to when Maddie enters the grub truck. You see Maddie clearly looking at number 9. Number 9 waves out to Maddie. He calls Maddie. Maddie goes to him. Maddie says something to Emily's ear. She could have asked for something. It's just a speculation because of how things are going to happen later. As soon as Maddie turns around and walks towards Kaylee, you see number 8. Look at number 9, and number 9 giving the sign that he's going to put someone to sleep. Now, many of us are rap fans. Watch rap music and you will know when rappers give that signal of putting someone to sleep. I wonder if he gives Maddie something that really put Maddie to sleep, because let's not forget, this is important. Maddie was one of the only persons who did not defend herself. We've heard that Xana had defensive wounds. We've heard from Kaylee's parents that Kaylee fought for life. We haven't heard much about E. Now, Maddie was the only one we haven't heard of having defensive wounds. Or not defensive wounds, we haven't heard that Maddie defended herself. She could have possibly, or she could have been put to bed, put to sleep, like number 9 told number 8. Now we have Joe Vito running around flashing a Coca-Cola can. I'm a Coca-Cola fan. I drink Coca-Cola a lot, which isn't good for my health or for anyone's health. But for drinking Coca-Cola for over 25 years, I know one thing about Coca-Cola, especially a can. A can is not my favorite of the Coca-Cola family. But when I have a Coca-Cola can or any fizzy drink can, you do not keep on twisting your can up and down from side to side, because that is going to really, the fizz is number 1 going to be destroyed. Number 2, as soon as you open the can, it's going to spray all over the place. Even a child knows that. Children used to do that for fun. I know that Mr. Vito, actually with the T, Vito, got his can from the grub truck. So it makes us wonder, that means the grub truck have to be part of it? And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they were part of it, because I'll tell you why. Pay attention to the manager of the grub truck. As your cognitive behavior therapist, I pay attention to what people say and how they act. Actions speak louder than words. Sometimes you could say something and your actions could totally show another thing. Now, when you see the manager talking to the news channel and they're interviewing him, I did not see any empathy. I know you can say maybe he didn't know the girls that well, but still, where's your empathy? 4 human beings were unalived in the most horrific manner. And he showed no sympathy, no empathy. Neither did Jovito. There was a lot of words exchanged in the grub truck. Jovito was laughing with Jack Showalter at Maddie. Something was definitely going on there, because Maddie pointed her finger directly at Showalter and Hoodie Guy, and she said, "You, Mr. F you." What was going on? Let's not forget, this is the same Hoodie Guy who was walking down with them towards the grub truck, who said that they're going to get you, Maddie. They're going to get you for this, Maddie. If you ask me, the whole grub truck was a surveillance team. Not all of them, but 70% of them. Aiden with the long hair, and the girl with the white jacket were just keeping on looking at Maddie when she was walking and she was stumbling around. I don't mean that in a bad manner. May she rest in peace, but that was what was happening. And they seemed to be having a laugh at her. We heard Jovito saying, "Oh, this is a place for the zombies. Everyone who comes there is a zombie. We just come there. It's all walks of life who comes there." But everyone seemed to be in some kind of surveillance mood. That is the reason at times I wonder if there was organizations behind it. Whether it was money laundering, whether it was drugs, whether it was human trafficking. Allegedly, in my opinion, it could have been anything. I think this was more than a crime of passion. This was more than the 4chans and the Sigma Chi. Yes, steroids is part of drugs. Now, I want to tell you all something very interesting. To start with, I want to give out a shout out to Tommy Jude, Once Upon a Crime Time. Please like, share his channel, like and subscribe to him. Because he's a person with a good heart. He likes to put all the YouTubers out there. He is a good person. And I love his mods too. Shout out to Natural Healing, Rage, and many of the others. I wanted to tell you all about something very interesting. Most of the people in my channel know, and most of the people in other channels who've been watching this case know that I was the first ones to start with the Sigma Chi boys. Way back in February, March, April 2023, when no one was paying attention to them, because we knew about the 4chan article and then it died away. But then I brought it back to light, and I'm happy that many people are still continuing the 4chan movement, because there's something really wrong with the Sigma Chi boys. Wrong in what sense? Yes, there was a party going on that night. Yes, something was happening in the Sigma Chi. I won't be personally surprised if they followed the couple home, or if they were already hiding at their 1122 Kings Road, and if they had their own motives, like they said in the 4chan. Now, the reason I mentioned Tommy Jude's channel is, I'm sure Rachel would remember, and some of the mods there, a couple of days ago, I believe 3 days ago, Antoine, who was on the panel of Once Upon a Crime Time, Tommy Jude's panel, was actually, he has a channel, please like, share, and subscribe to him too, came out with a lot of interesting thoughts of what he believed could have happened. And while the discussion was going on and the live stream was flowing, the chat was flowing, I came into something I noticed, and I'm quite quick at noticing. I ain't boasting about that, but then that is part of what I do for a living. As a cognitive behavior therapist and as a licensed mental health counselor, you are supposed to be very observant of what's going on. There was a certain person who came into the who was in the live chat, and out of the blue, he just said, "Don't listen to who the London mental health and crime. She lies a lot and she's a liar." At once, I just followed. No, sorry, let me go back again. The person said in the chat, he said, "Who the London, David L. is innocent." Now, not many people were watching. I thought to myself, Sigma Chi, is that y'all? David L.? The person went with the name Underdog. The reason I'm saying the name out loud is I want y'all to pay attention to that person, unless he goes and changes his name again. And for him to have just said, "Who the London," he said out directly, "Who the London mental health and crime." If you address me by my channel's name, I know I'm thinking like, you're in Once Upon a Crime Time's channel. Why would you be addressing me? He said, "Who the London mental health and crime, David L. is innocent or is not involved," one of them. I did not reply back, and I did that on purpose. I thought, let me see what else he comes with. And then the person says, the same person, Underdog, says, now he's talking to everyone in the live chat, and not everyone is following because the conversation going on the panel was really interesting. And that was why I came in, to support Tommy Jude and to listen to the panel, because Antoine's thoughts were very interesting. I like to listen to everyone's thoughts. Then he says, "Don't listen to who the London mental health and crime. She's a liar. She lies a lot." That is what he said. And I only answered him with one sentence. He said, "Hello, David L. David Lott," actually I said, "Is that you?" Then he repeats again, like a parrot. He says, "Who the London lies." And then I said, "Underdog / David L. Am I a liar because I have my eyes on you and David B?" He answered me back, and that's when the mods noticed it and rage, shot out rage. Tommy Jude has lovely mods, and I respect all mods everywhere, because I've been a mod for a year and a half in the Summerwell's case, in many good channels, before I had my own channels. So I know the hard work mods do everywhere, and it's well respected, well appreciated. So Rachel's really sharp, quickly she noticed, and she said, "Huda, I saw that." And she said, "Don't worry, I blocked him." I thank Rachel doing that. And I wish actually we didn't block him, Rach, because it would have been really interesting to see what he continues saying. But I really respect Rach because she saw that the person was out for me, calling me a liar or saying that I tell lies. And I could see he was actually getting geared up. He was getting heated up when I said, underdog, David Lodge, is that you? So now let me come to you, David Lodge, if you're watching, because I can see that you are watching. I just feel your vibe, your energy in my channel, and especially in my comment channel. You come with different names, and you know because I'm not a liar. You know that I got my eyes on you. Whatever happened in the Sigma Chi, you'll know what you'll do to E and Xana. I ain't giving up on this case. You're calling me a liar, David Lodge, because I exposed the 4chan. I didn't give up on the Banfield. And I didn't give up on the grub truck either. David Lodge, explain yourself, young man. Why were you and your two friends? Why did you all turn your back towards the wall the minute Kaylee and Maddie walked in with Jack Showalter? And then you looked at Jack Showalter and you nodded your head. Don't you think I'll watch you? One thing I don't do is lie. I speculate, just like other YouTube creators. Everyone's entitled to having their own opinion. And I haven't just decided out of the blue that I'm just going to start with Sigma Chi. I've been watching y'all. I've been doing my research, and I've always said this was two separate incidents. I can go way back to my channel in the beginning of this case. I've always said this is two separate incidents. Organizations could be involved. Normal people could be involved. Sigma Chi could be involved. Whoever could be involved, but this was two separate incidents. So by calling me a liar, you just got my attention. Focus more on the Sigma Chi. And you got yourself to thank for that. In fact, I was happy that you mentioned my name. And the reason I know that it's you is because why would you just say, Huda London, David Lodge is innocent or not involved? Why would you say that? David B is much smarter than you. He hasn't addressed me. But you decided to address me. So David Lodge, let me ask you a couple of questions. I've seen that picture of you, and I've always exposed that picture. Maybe that's why you don't like me. Of you sitting on the leather sofa outside 1122 Kings Road with a cigarette in your mouth and just sitting and looking up in a devious way. Did the students know? Did the victims know that you were sitting outside? I don't think so. And honestly, sorry for that, and honestly, I personally believe that somebody in the university was out to get you. That's why they exposed that picture. We didn't just get hold of that picture. That picture was put out by someone. The 4chan was put out by someone, David Lodge, and that wasn't me. What I actually did is I just jumped on the Sigma Chi train. My train of my thoughts was always on your side. I believe, allegedly, you and David B were one of the figures running. Could have been Hoodie Guy and Jack D too. What I find is interesting is that DM, Hoodie Guy, BF have all been to Boise, Idaho High School. So now we have a connection here that I've always mentioned from a year ago. The picture of BF sitting on your lap. You'll have a can of beer. Hoodie guy is a hunter. And so is David L. and some of his friends. You're already mentioned on the 4chan the motives, the targets, and who you were out for. But David L., or should I say Underdog, brought it upon himself to get more focus from me. You should have just kept your mouth shut. And I know the most likely underdog is David Lodge. Others you wouldn't be saying, who the London mental health and crime, David Lodge is not involved. Your friend David B. Beracho, whatever his name was boasting on Reddit and TikTok, answering people in the comments. He even said that the 4chan, he said not everything of the 4chan is true. So he admitted that means, in other words, some of the things in the 4chan is true. Which part is the truth? I believe most of it. It can't be just a coincidence the way you have predicted it. Whatever was said in the 4chan is exactly how it happened. If I didn't see the 4 figures running, if I didn't see Saeed, Sheikh Ali, if I didn't see all the things that were happening at the Banfield, if I did not see the crowd yelling Xana's name at the grub truck, if I didn't notice all those things, if I didn't hear with my own ears Mr. Hoodie guy, Jack Showalter, saying, you know they're going to get you for that Maddie, and Maddie's gone. Kaylee's gone. The couple is gone. Then I would have said, no, Huda, this is all in your head, and they weren't involved. But watching everything the way it played out is the way the 4chan said it. And I don't know why the 4chan article wasn't properly investigated. So these are my thoughts about the Sigma Chi boys. Maybe E and Xana was going to expose the steroids that was being used and where it was coming from. Maybe other activities were going on there that they didn't want coming out in the open. And that's the reason maybe Xana and E were out. As for Kaylee and Maddie, who the guy knows exactly, and Adam. There was a guy with a black mask, a green hoodie jacket. At 3:31 p.m., a picture was taken in front of 1122 Kings Road. Some people say it looks like Adam. Some people say it looks like Jake. Some people say it looks like Hoodie Guy. We don't know who it was. But there were people with masks there. And I've shown you, if you go back to my channel, watch the picture Saeed is watching. These people were doing a live stream, definitely. Or some kind of group chat where certain people were watching these lives, maybe on the dark web. I have never said that I believe BK is completely innocent, because I'll make a clip about that, why I believe he could be one of the players too. I don't believe he was just innocently framed either, because we have to give the FBI a bit credit for that. They tracked him in those areas, but the question is, Was he called there to clean up? Was he called there to be framed? Or why was BK there? Is another question. Please like, share, and subscribe. David L. Underdog, or whatever name you go by these days, because I remember receiving a couple of really serious comments in the beginning of this case, which I've never actually mentioned. There was somebody in the beginning, now this was actually around August or September last year. Somebody left me a very, very long, lengthy comment telling me, why do you care and why are you interested in this case? These four people don't deserve justice. I've never said that before because I don't want the parents to be disappointed. But the reason I believe other people were involved is the person said that they will never see heaven. They're sinners. And they said a lot of terrible words. It seemed like it could have been from anyone, but it seemed like it was someone involved. I remember I had to take screenshots of that comment, and it was like, when I finally finished taking the screenshots, it became 3 pages. That's how lengthy it was. And the person was telling me, oh my God, they committed adultery, they are sinners, they will never go to heaven, and really serious things. That's why I never spoke about it. But then it reminded me. I remember those comments when David Lodge, or Underdog, was calling me a liar. I went back to those comments. It took me at least 2 days to search where I saved them. And I read it, and it was really disturbing. It's not something I can put out there, but it sounded like something that lines up with what they were saying about them in the 4chan article. Please share your thoughts. Have a lovely weekend. May the 4 victims rest in peace. And David Lodge, I believe it's you, Underdog, I'm here to stay. Just that you know. These 4 victims deserve the correct justice. If BK has any involvement, he should go down. But I know BK isn't the only one. I think more will be exposed soon. But I don't think we'll get to know the whole truth. There's a reason they put this case on gag order. Thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.